So let's talk about new original series that debuted in 2007. Obviously, we have the classic hits that are already going on at Cartoon Network, but this is where we got some intros. I don't know if you guys remember, because I was in 5th grade and I saw promos of it, a food-based show. Can you guess what I'm talking about?
What is that wonderful smell?
At this point in my life, I wasn't really ready for a new show. I had SpongeBob, Danny Phantom, I had everything from 2004 to 2006, with my favorite being Shaolin Showdown.
Hey, what's with the glowing?
It is a Shaolin Showdown.
But it looked like Cartoon Network was ready to compete with me and show me something new. One of the first ones that really took my attention was Chowder. So Chowder was introduced for the first time November 2nd in 2007. It's this quirky animated comedy created by C.H. Greenblatt. He did a lot of different shows on Cartoon Network. I would definitely say he was one of the driving forces of the creativity on that show. More recently, he directed the Crisis on Infinite Mirths crossover event, and I'm not sure if you guys saw my video on that, but Cartoon Network did a huge crossover with Eddy and Eddy, with Chowder, with Camp Lazlo, even. It's like not really that good, but I definitely advise you to check it out because it's worth seeing, that's for sure. Something can be worth seeing without being good, okay? Okay. A lot of people liked it too. The show follows a young apprentice chef in the whimsical city of Marzipan, and they're able to make a lot of their plots be based off the food that they're cooking, which is really interesting. Classic characters are like Mung Dal. People still say rada 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 like Schnitzel.
Rada, 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 rada.
Like, this is a really influential show. Its premiere drew over 1.1 million views between the ages of kids 2 to 11, which definitely was me. And it's a vibrant fourth wall breaking humor.
Sir. Okay. There.
What about that one?
That one doesn't come off. I tried.
And it has like this really cool art style that makes it look like a piece of painting is like still, but the cartoons move over it. I'm not a big cartoonist, but it was really cool the way it was done. It was beautifully designed, the characters were hilarious, and it just all around made my day. Chowder is a quality show. And even had an Emmy nomination for its art style, which is actually really cool. And then we got Out of Jimmy's Head. Oh my gosh, guys, this was a fever dream.
I had it and it gave me weird fever dreams.
I'm not sure if you heard other YouTubers talk about it, but Out of Jimmy's Head was a hybrid between a live action and a cartoon. And this style didn't work a lot. Like, it was famous for its debut in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Best part is, they work for peanuts.
It's about a detective that's trying to save this Bugs Bunny-like animated character from getting in trouble, pretty much. It was dark and gritty and proved that cartoons and real life can interact in a way that's really interesting. But Out of Jimmy's Head didn't exactly do that.
Oh, this is awkward.
There was a movie called Reanimated on Cartoon Network in 2006, and it was about this guy who basically has the ability to see cartoons after a brain transplant. And this main actor gives me a lot of Ned's Declassified vibes, like Ned Bigby all the way. And I remember it being fun. I wish I could find some of the episodes nowadays, but I feel like even when I look back, it's kind of a little too gritty for its own good.
I know I'm your 43rd principal this year, but believe me, I'll be your last. Most of you will not graduate. Those few of you who do will learn to abide by my rules. No video games, no spitballs, and absolutely no outside food.
A lot of shows have failed at that hybrid sense. Point is, it worked or it didn't, and this is one of the scenarios where it didn't. Like, it was definitely ambitious, and I feel like if any network were to do a show like this, it would be Cartoon Network. Like, they're supposed to be the pinnacle of cartoons. And even though Nickelodeon had Nicktoons, I still think it wasn't meant for them specifically. The show's debut was trying to be timed to coincide with the DVD release of Reanimated, which came out in 2007 in September. And it's really funny to think about them timing with DVDs. Like, DVDs now are like this obsolete format.
This is a DVD.
But back then, they really needed to get those sales. And I'm sure this was like 20, 30 bucks. Like now DVDs are like cheap. Everybody's trying to get rid of them. But back then, people bought them. I don't think I was collecting DVDs at this age, but I definitely had an interest in it. The series had super bad reviews and low ratings and became the only Cartoon Network show disrupted by the 2007 writer's strike, probably because animation was in a different realm. And production halted after 13 episodes, with the remaining burning off in 2008. You could tell they didn't like this show. Despite its short run, the experiment foreshadowed Cartoon Network's later push into live action. So they were trying to be a lot more diverse with their programming, the variety of different things, not just cartoons. And I could see why that worked for them, but looking back, it's like Cartoon Network is infamous for doing all of that. And even though this wasn't a success, it's still nice to see that they tried, you know? This is one I wasn't super familiar with. It's called Transformers Animated. And on December 26th, they debuted it. It was this 90-minute TV movie called Transform and Roll Out. And it was like a sneak preview getting ready for the show. The reboot of this beloved Hasbro franchise was co-produced by Cartoon Network Studios and marked the return of the Transformers coming to Cartoon Network. It would have a proper return in 2008, but its late 2007 movie premiere, set in Detroit of the future, generated a lot of excitement among the fans. Transformers Animated officially listed as having a premiere in the 26th of December. And this show would later run on for 3 seasons and 42 episodes, which isn't that bad, especially compared to Reanimated, or Out of Jimmy's Head, as we say. And then we got, unfortunately, a few notable series finales and cancellations that ended in 2007. And this is where the shows are the most recognized, and you're really gonna have your heart broken when you hear about this. So first we have The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
No! 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 No!
Successfully running since 2003, this really dark show about 2 kids following the Grim Reaper reminds me a lot of The Cat in the Hat.
A monster? Where?
Like, there's the 2 kids and then this wacky older counterpart. But in this scenario, they're kind of funny. Like, Mandy is this dark demon-like worshiper, I would say.
Mandy?
You know, Erwin, the thing about crushes is they always hurt in the end. That's why they're called crushes.
In a nutshell, she's just like this negative Nelly, and Billy is this optimistic, dumb kid. They really play into the stereotypes of what their characters are.
And what show is this we're watching?
My favorite laundry day!
Billy, do you want to be a TV star?
I wish!
Wish granted.
But the world is so rich and dense, jumping between the underworld and the normal world, that its cynical approach actually really left a mark on people. There's so many awesome jokes I remember from that show, and I really want to do a retrospective on Billy and Mandy because this is such a good show. It aired its final episodes on November 9th, 2007. And then they had that proper Big Boogie adventure in 2008, but really it got wrapped up in 2007. The dark comedy really got in people's heads and almost gave me nightmares.
Am I having a nightmare?
But 6 seasons and 80 plus episodes, like, that is no easy feat. It was one of Cartoon Network's flagship cartoons from the very beginning. So when it was over in 2007, it was very much like, wow, this is really the end of the first iteration of these shows.
No! It can't be!
The last episode was El Dia de los Muertos. Stupidos! Another ending series is Codename Kids Next Door. I guess I could see why Cartoon Network did a crossover between the two, because it is nice that they ended at the exact same time. Both had 6 seasons, which is amazing. The successes of these shows are crazy. So Kids Next Door is a popular show about a squad of child secret agents, and it's really leaning into the Jimmy Neutron movies theme, you know, like, of that kids are just as capable as adults. And in this, it's like a lot more satirical, and the entire show is built around that. There's the pleasant kids from down the lane, which is kind of like this opposite of Kids Next Door, where the kids next door are rebels to the adults, and these guys are like pandering to the adults.
Most unsatisfied.
Yes, Father.
And the villains are super funny. Like, there's like a toilet man.
I won! Oh, this is rigged! That's my
bored.
Go flush yourself down a pee-pee hole, you toilet paper covered duty head.
This is a family show, Potty Mouth.
This was another thing where they had, like, basically the final episodes releasing in 2007, but the entire show was, like, formally done in 2008. But, like, at this point, 2007 is when they really wrapped creativity on this show. Like, there's no more filmed after this. They just had a few stragglers after.
I need more.
There is no more.
I think the last episode was called Operation Treaty, premiering November 23rd, 2007. Another hit-defining show that came out since 2002. Another one is The Life and Times of Juniper Lee. I've not seen this show, but I know a lot of people have recommended it to me. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this. Let me know if you have any favorite episodes. But this is the action comedy about the young girl who fights magical threats. There's a lot of symbolism in it. I know there's a lot of action. And with the female lead, like, in 2005, that was pretty interesting. It ended its run in 2007 on April 9th. 3 seasons was a pretty good run, similar to Shaolin Showdown. It was a creative premise, like, kind of like the kids' version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, if you've seen that.
God, I was worried that something had happened to you, and of course it has because you're a vampire.
It struggled with ratings for a while, but it definitely got a couple good episodes out there. But 2007 was its final departure from Cartoon Network. Rest in peace. Oh, then we have this show which long forgotten, Squirrel Boy. So this guy was made by Everett Peck. It's this quirky buddy comedy about a boy and his talking pet squirrel.
The classic story of a boy and his squirrel?
I remember watching this show often when it came on, and I can't remember a single thing about it. I mean, the characters are designed really funny. I remember thinking it was funny, but looking back, it's not as exciting as I thought it was. It only went on for 2 seasons, like mid-2008, and died in late 2007. So it was kind of a modest success, but CN did not continue it. Interesting enough, its last week of episodes were burned off as a part of a special marathon during the Hullabaloo event in September 2007, which is kind of interesting. I forgot Cartoon Network had all these special events where they would introduce new episodes. It was always so nostalgic to watch show after show have new episodes. Like, TV for adults is always like episodic one by one, but like kids' cartoons, like they are like the Wild West.
Let's settle this like cowboys.
You could just get 5 episodes one day and then not have any episodes new for a year. It was crazy. And then that was the end of Fridays. The Cartoon Network Fridays block. I don't know if you guys remember this, but beyond the animated series, they actually had these like adults playing teenagers. It's like a live host in between the episodes. So, like, they would have, like, these half-hour segments, but they would basically be introducing new cartoons, and they would have comedic beats. It kind of reminded me of, like, All That if it were the bridge between the episodes, you know? I know they also had a DVD come out. I'm not sure if it came out that year, but it was going on since 2003. So it wasn't, like, this failure. I definitely don't think it's memorable, but it didn't, like, not work out. It ended in summer 2007 and was replaced by a new revamped block called Fried Dynamite. You could see the promotions somewhere online. And I don't know, just the end of Fridays symbolizes Cartoon Network's shift into a new era of branding and audience engagement. Tommy and Tara were the names of the hosts. Oh, yeah. They definitely remind me of the Nintendo Minute crew. Kit and Krista, I believe it is. I like peppy commentators that serve as hosts. What can I say? So yeah, other shows that effectively bowed out in 2007 are My Gym Partner's a Monkey, which actually went on for 4 seasons, with the final season airing that whole year, and then Camp Lazlo, which had its 5th and final season's first half in 2007, but it actually finished in 2008. But My Gym Partner's a Monkey was definitely something I really liked. I recently reviewed The Big Field Trip. That show went on so much longer than I thought. Over 60 episodes, I believe. But yeah, Camp Lazlo is also a confused success. Like, I didn't realize that had 5 seasons. Like, that was a really dense show as well. Wow, so many awesome shows were ending this year.
What's going on here?
They also, I think, acquired Naruto, which finished its original run then. So the next thing I want to go over is some of the special events that went on in 2007. We got movies, specials, and the major crossover nights.
Is this a crossover episode?
So Cartoon Network heavily leveraged specials and TV movies in 2007, making the year packed with event programming that was new and exclusive to the channel. They had no fewer than 24 original specials or films that year.
A lot of stuff.
One of the highlights is the Cartoon Network Invaded crossover event. So in spring 2007, Cartoon Network staged an unprecedented multi-show crossover storyline. Across 5 of its original series, 5 aliens invaded the plots of this connected narrative. The event kicked off with Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Subsequent episodes are Ed and Eddy, My Gym Partner's a Monkey, Camp Lazlo, and Billy and Mandy all had encounters going on at this time. The arc culminated on Memorial Day 2007 with the marathon and the reveal that it was Blue from Foster's who had accidentally summoned the aliens. Oh my gosh, Cartoon Network Invaded was a fan favorite stunt celebrating Cartoon Network's shared universe in a really fun way. According to Maxwell Adams, who was the creator of Billy and Mandy, the event occurred because Kraft Cheese sponsored it. Can you imagine? It's like having a brand deal with Kraft Cheese and they're like, Johnny, make 5 of your videos, all with a cohesive narrative of aliens attacking the video. I mean, obviously they're not going to ask me to do that, but it's still cool. Hence the connection between the cheese and the aliens on each of the show's episodes. The company backed out apparently last minute, presumably due to the actions of Billy and Mandy on the Moon episode, so the episodes were shown as a special event on the network. Craig McCracken, that guy who created Foster's Home for Imaginary Friend, stated that nobody on board was excited. Oh, that's disappointing. 3 aliens were created during the advertisement, including Skirvix, this red alien voiced by Ben Amick, Peaches, which is this green alien voiced by Tom Kenny, and Glog, a blue alien by Jason DeMarco. During the time of the event, these aliens and their spaceship additionally appeared in a bunch of bumpers during older episodes. It kicked off with Cheese A Go-Go, the season 5 premiere of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. So Blue was suddenly convinced that Cheese is an alien spy working for an extraterrestrial organization to remove brains of people on Earth and cause an alien invasion.
Picture! It's Cheese! He's an alien!
I guess he watched this science fiction movie, and he was reading this tabloid newspaper where pictures were similar looking to Cheese. Later on, Frankie and everybody else, including Blue, are stuck in an out-of-control day of errands and priorities, which cause the utter chaos when Cheese screams, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. Oh my god, remember that? That was such a priceless episode. Hundreds of times he's just running around and Blue is using the observatory intercom to communicate with the aliens throughout outer space, which is a really cool connection to the other shows. This was a full 20-minute episode, not one of the Part A and Part B, so they seemed like they were committed to it. I don't know what Craig McCracken's talking about. Maybe he didn't have a good time?
Are you not entertained?
Nah, I'm just kidding. I loved that episode because I love Cheese, and I think every time he has a new bit that's annoying, I just eat it up. So in the Ed, Edd and Eddy one, it's called The Eds Are Coming, which is funny. So Jimmy dreams that an alien spaceship invades the cul-de-sac and carries it away. After Jimmy wakes up, it's discovered that the dream had had a large impact on him, and he is constantly imagining aliens around every corner. He's basically having a mental breakdown this whole episode, and when Johnny states to the kids that aliens have invaded the cul-de-sac and are at Ralph's house, everybody is like, no, there's no way.
And tell if you're delusional or just sad.
Jimmy believes him at first and tells him that aliens do in fact exist and that his dream is coming true. Gosh, I'd be terrified. Naz soothes the tensions between the believers and the skeptics by saying that something is certainly going on. Kevin suggests they go do a check of Ralph's house, and then when the kids do, they find out that something is up. And it's proven when a giant cheese wheel shoots out of the chimney and lands in the park, as it's not an alien invasion, it has to do with cheese again. Surprise, surprise, jumping off the Foster's train. And it is certainly something sinister. Of course, Ed, Edd and Eddy feed into this with the attack of the Space Nose Miner and Space Dancers from the Outer Reaches comics that they apparently have in their universe. Like, of course you're gonna think that there's an alien invasion. This is when I noticed that all the episodes have a similar UFO in it, and they can be seen lifting the cul-de-sac into space. Then there's so many references to cheese, like Ed's weird alien sayings have cheese in them. And then when he crashed into the playground, there was that giant wheel of cheese. Apparently there was a game called Toy Twister based on this episode, and it was hosted on CartoonNetwork.com. Oh, what a throwback, CartoonNetwork.com. So toys would fall from the sky, and UFOs and the Eds capture the toys for cash. It is like 10 levels, and in each level, the player must capture a certain number of toys in order to go to the next one. When it first aired, the end credits also included a slide referencing Plank as Agent 314, which is super funny. Then we got My Gym Partner's a Monkey. This episode's called That Darn Platypus. A mysterious new student named Rick Platypus transfers to Charles Darwin Middle School, coinciding with this power outage and a series of strange events that convince the students he might be an alien. The rumors spiral, and Rick only fuels the paranoia by claiming he drinks brain juice.
Anyone want some supersonic brain juice? It's made from pomegranates and fortified with all kinds of vitamins.
And building props to summon a spaceship. While Adam tries to befriend Rick and calm everybody down, the increasingly bizarre antics basically escalate. There's fake tentacles, banana peels from the sky, and a laser cannon showdown. There's like mass hysteria among the animal students. Just when it seems like things are resolved, Rick reveals to be an over-the-top prankster, and the episode delivers one final twist. He actually is an alien and flies off into a UFO, leaving Adam and the audience bewildered. Oh my gosh, this is insane. I can't believe they actually leaned into it. Camp Lazlo is definitely the one that utilized this theme a lot more than the rest of the shows. They actually did 2 episodes that seem like a two-parter, but really it's just 2 episodes that lean into one another. So in the first one, Strange Trout from Outer Space. And in this one, Samson is abducted by aliens who demand cheese.
What do you want? Are you gonna suck my brain out?
We want cheese.
And torture him with repeated swimsuit snaps when he can't provide any answers. Oh my gosh. After being unceremoniously dropped from Camp Kidney, Samson grows suspicious of 3 new Canadian fish campers.
They're not Canadians! They're aliens!
Who arrive suspiciously after his abduction and becomes convinced they are the same aliens in disguise. Despite the increasingly desperate attempts for Samson to expose them, nobody believes him except for 3 background characters. And as he begins to doubt himself, he overhears the fish plotting to steal Chef McMeasley's cheese. So he springs into action, but unfortunately his attempt to stop them fails spectacularly and the fish escape. Believing that he at least got rid of the imposters, Samson's momentarily triumphant until one of his allies accidentally reveals his true alien forms. In a final twist, it turns out the aliens were posing as the background characters that believed him all along.
I knew I shouldn't have let you handle the high five. I mean, how many times do we have to go through this?
In an attempt to sabotage the rival fish aliens. Oh my gosh. And they're headed to Acorn Flats next. And it actually leads into Cheese Balls, the next episode. So this one is about this girl named Nina who builds a cheese-proof suit. So the character Patsy, who's like kind of Lazlo's like arch rival / girlfriend, can attend the International Cheese Ball competition. But after a mishap, Patty lashes out and storms off. When she's alone and rejected, she encounters real aliens who demand cheese and decide to stay with her until the event.
Hey, are you guys aliens?
What do you think? Give us your cheese!
Wow, this is so amazing! Come on in!
While Nina becomes obsessed with her new laser-totting extraterrestrial friends, Patsy and Gretchen try everything from mythological creatures to emotional appeals to win her back, all but no avail. Desperate, Gretchen exploits Patsy's allergy by feeding her massive amounts of cheese, transforming her into a grotesque, bloated figure they disguised as an alien named Gorgonzola.
Who are you? I am Gorgonzola!
To impress Nina. The ruse kinda works, rekindling their friendship, but the real aliens, now fed up, fail to find the actual cheese at the cheese ball and vow revenge on Earth. Jesus, this is crazy. Finally, the last episode that got involved was Billy and Mandy. The Billy and Mandy one was a 2-part special, but it was the same episode. It wasn't 2 separate ones like Camp Lazlo. It was about a late-night alien encounter, sending Billy and local bully Spurg on an intergalactic cheese-fueled misadventure. After being abducted and experimented on, Billy brings the UFO back home, leading Grim and Mandy to discover an alien plot involving cheese theft,
The milk is gone. And the butter, cheese, even the tofu! No, the tofu is still there. But it looks like cheese!
It's really funny because, of course, Billy and Mandy is the way this makes the most sense, this whole invaded concept, so I like how they're choosing to end on this. The group eventually gets captured, taken to the moon, and learn that the aliens' plan is revealed in full over all this event. They're going to wait for the full moon, become werewolves, and conquer all of Earth.
Hey, what are you werewolves up to?
Mandy, Grimm, and Billy, and Spurg escape through an arena brawl, mariachi disguises, and magnetized moonwalking, only to face off against the aliens turned werewolves. In the dramatic turn, Grimm transforms the group into reluctant superheroes. Green Squeaker, Milk Mandy, and the Cheese Reaper. So they're really committed to this whole theme. And they defeat the aliens in one epic battle. Spurg ends up sacrificing himself by detaining the bomb in his head, causing the enemy ship to crash. And in the aftermath, Sir Raven sums up the fates of the crew. Mandy and Grimm fight crime, Billy remains a werewolf, and Spurg continues bullying without a head. Whew. Meanwhile, back on the moon, villainous Dr. Brainiac receives an unwelcome sweater from Frankie Foster. Whew, nice tie-in. And swears vengeance on Earth, setting the stage for even more cosmic chaos.
Dear Dr. Brainiac, happy birthday. Love, Frankie. A sweater. I'll hurt sweaters!
It's so crazy to think about this event not being tied into Halloween. Like, I feel like that is a major missed opportunity.
You fail!
And the way they eerily implanted such specific Easter eggs that had to do with dairy and cheese and alien invasions, and most of them ending up in mass hysteria, it's really cool to think that they were good in coordinating this. Like, SpongeBob never did this, Fairly Odd Parents didn't do it. I mean, they had the Jimmy Timmy crossover, but it was never as intricately planned or needed to be planned as this event was. So I really needed to highlight this when we're talking about 2007, because this is one of the most influential events to have ever happened. And while it's not exciting to hear that everybody involved wasn't necessarily looking forward to coinciding all these shows, I mean, like, why would you? It's like doing a group project with 5 other groups. But, like, I do think they did a good job, and credit has to be due for making it so impressive. So we got a few animated TV movies in 2007, and it was mostly those made-for-TV ones. Like, we have Billy and Mandy's Big Boogie Adventure. It was a 70-minute movie starring all the characters, and it premiered in March 2007. In this swashbuckling special, Grimm and the kids face the boogeyman on the high seas. It was also released on DVD in that same year. Oh, I wish I got that DVD.
Why, God, why?
If you guys saw my video on this, I actually did cover the Great Boogie Adventure movie, and I can't remember if it's like a super substantial finale to the show, but I don't remember being disappointed.
Excellent, excellent.
They also had Billy and Mandy's episode Wrath of the Spider Queen, which was a film-length special that aired in 2007. The movie was set on Halloween, and the characters were battling the evil Spider Queen. The two films gave Billy and Mandy a proper send-off in its final year, and the series creator, Maxwell Adams, considered them the capstone adventures for the whole show, so it was overall a great send-off for Billy and Mandy. Then we have the great crossover event, codename KND, The Grim Adventures of the KND! I did a little review on this, and while I don't think this was a great crossover, there's been worse crossovers.
It was meh.
So I feel like it's nice to see Grimm, Mandy, and all the Kids Next Door characters collide like this in a way that's not just in the invaded format. Like, they actually had the show's events intertwine. It was a treat for fans of both series and symbolically passed the torch on as both shows ended that year. Then Camp Lazlo had their first 2-part special. It aired in February 18th, 2007, and it was about Lazlo going missing, this mystery-themed TV movie with Raj and Clam taking center stage as they go on this adventure to look for him, and it won an Emmy Award apparently.
Am I crazy or did we just win?
It was a really good year for Cartoon Network. Then My Gym Partner's a Monkey had The Big Field Trip, which was also a 1-hour movie special. Some view it as 2 half-hour specials, but it was a full 4-episode special essentially, because, you know, they're all broken into 2 parts, and it's kind of about Adam going a little animalistic. While on a field trip, and It was one of my least favorite specials of all of Cartoon Network ever. There's just something about it that doesn't feel like it lived up to its full potential. Like, it was the first time we could see the characters outside the school setting, and it didn't really make a huge lasting impact. But it was the series' first TV movie, and it definitely helped kick off that final year of My Gym Partner's a Monkey. If you want to see more on that, you could check out my review of it. Oh, and then we also had Ben 10 Race Against Time. It was Cartoon Network's first live-action movie, and of course, it's based on one of the hardest franchises ever, Ben 10. Like, imagine how hard it is to make 10 aliens come to life in CGI, also make it work on a channel that primarily focuses on cartoons.
Oh, man. Give me a break.
Like, it was definitely really well written, and even though the execution wasn't perfect, you could check out my video, it was still a really cool premise.
Maybe I can work with this.
Like the teenage Ben Tennyson returning to his hometown, finding a villain named Eon there that's actually a future version of him with the CGI aliens and real actors. It was definitely a ratings phenomenon. It was the most watched program in Cartoon Network's history up until that point. So 2007 really was a new upward trajectory. It drew in 3.9 million viewers. The success proved that the strength of the Ben 10 franchise definitely took Cartoon Network to the next level and was definitely worth doing another Ben 10 movie, which isn't in 2007, so we're not talking about it. See, I didn't realize how many of these special movie events all happened within the year of 2007. I'm surprised that we didn't really get a Foster's Home one that year because they had so many specials, but it's still crazy to think that not only did Camp Lazlo, My Gym Partner's a Monkey, Codename Kids Next Door, like there was just so much jam-packed into this single year. Let me backtrack for a second. The Cartoon Network's first live-action movie was Reanimated, but this was the first live-action movie based on one of their series. This is kind of random, but they had a Props Youth Achievement special, so tapping into real-world inspiration, Cartoon Network also ran a multi-part documentary-style project called Props in 2007. Over the summer, the network profiled 16 kids with talents in sports, art, community service, and encouraged viewers to vote for their favorites online, which was really cool, drawing attention to all these people around the world. It spotlighted 6 finalists and gave props to their achievements. Props was a unique mix of reality and content, aligning with Cartoon Network's aim to celebrate kids' creativity. It was produced in cooperation with its corporate sister CNN's participation, leading to a whole high-profile touch. Oh, it's so cool. So all these specials, events, from cartoons to live action in 2007 was crazy. Cartoon Network totaled 662 new episodes, 24 new primetime specials, and oh my gosh, that is the craziest year. Now let's get on to my favorites, the home video releases, DVDs of 2007. So yeah, we got the Reanimated DVD that got released that year. The movie that led into the show, it was probably there to promote it, and that's interesting, I guess.
I think it's good. Well, I don't know if I think it's good.
It drummed up interest for the series that week, but how much interest really? Because it definitely didn't work, given the success of that show. Ooh, then we got The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy Season 1. So they did not have more than one season released on DVD, so this was kind of significant. If you could find this DVD online nowadays, it definitely goes for upwards of like $75 to $100. Other Cartoon Network releases also were kind of rare, like Foster's Home Season 2 for a while was $100. So this was when one of the most rare DVDs were produced. I personally, I think, got this DVD, but it's funny because it's like on its 6th season and they released the first season. Like Cartoon Network really didn't have a set plan for their DVDs. It came out in September 18th and it coincided with the series' conclusion. It also had Billy and Mandy's Big Boogie Adventure released on DVD the same year. I wish they just did more than that, honestly. Then we got Ben 10. It was in full mania by 2007, and they continued issuing season DVDs. Like, Season 1 had come out in early 2007, and Season 2 was released in late 2007, so they were really catching their stride with season releases. I wish Billy and Mandy ended up getting a second season release, but it looks like only Ben 10 was successful enough to do that, which is crazy because we're still talking about these shows till this day. Additionally, a standalone DVD for the animated movie Secret of the Omnitrix became available after its debut in August, and allowed viewers to alternate scenes with all 3 possible Ultimate Alien endings of that special, which is really cool. Then we can't forget the interactive media from 2007, like video games. In 2007 is when we got Ben 10 Protector of Earth. It was definitely Cartoon Network's hottest property at the time, and it got a major console video game in late 2007. Protector of Earth was an action-adventure style game where players could control Ben in all of his alien forms, something we've always wanted to do since the show started.
Oh my god, this is all I ever wanted!
It was released for the Nintendo DS, the Wii, PlayStation 2, and the PSP. It was a hit among kids and became one of the best-selling Cartoon Network games to date, riding the franchise's popularity. By this point, Ben 10 toys and games were also a full-fledged phenomenon. Like Bandai had the Omnitrix, and Ben 10 was named one of the top action figure brands of the holiday season. Even Ed, Edd n Eddy got a game. It was called Ed, Edd n Eddy Scam of the Century. I remember renting this from GameStop, I believe. It was a Nintendo DS game, one of the first on that system. The quirky handheld game let players guide the Eds through misadventures after Eddy's scam money goes missing. And it was a treat for fans because the Eds always translate well to video games, or at least better than most places. Then we have Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Imagination Invaders. The Foster's franchise saw its first and only console game in 2007. Imagination Invaders is a DS title released in 2007, and it's loosely based on the show's alien and space themes, perhaps maybe even tied into the Alien Invaders event. The game had players rescuing imaginary friends, and it coincided with Foster's Season 5 episodes, which was really cool. And online, we had the Cartoon Network Flash games in online worlds. CartoonNetwork.com had a long popular Flash game system, continuing to pump out new browser games in 2007, like Chowder, Gym Partner's a Monkey. They all were trying to use this online server to try to promote their shows. I'm not sure if you guys remember one of the most popular, which was Cartoon Network Universe Fusion Fall, a massively multiplayer online game that was announced in 2007, though it didn't release until 2 years later. And the concept of Fusion Fall was like this MMORPG uniting characters across all the CN series. Like, think of how Nicktoons did Nicktoons Unite or Battle for Volcano Island. This is like their version of that, but they were focused on making it more online than any kind of console thing, which I don't think was a smart idea at the time, but we're still on the internet, so what can you do? They definitely were trying to embrace broader interactive projects in a much different way than Nickelodeon was doing. In terms of identity, they had like a little bit of a network rebranding in the fall era. Like 2007 was a transitional year. The long-running CN City look, you know, like where they had those bumpers of characters co-mingling throughout the city, like that was when this started to end. That was completely from 2004 to 2006, and the bumpers started changing into the Invaded event, to the point where they were almost fully seen out the door. The upbeat Yes era branding succeeded. The CN City, ended probably because of Out of Jimmy's Head, where Cartoon Network was trying to introduce this new, refreshed fall look. Essentially, 2007 marked the end of CN's first decade style art with this new aesthetic.
I guess I miss the old days.
And it backed up its 2007 content with various marketing promotions. Like for Chowder, as an example, the network sent food trucks to events giving out Burple Nurples, which is one of the episodes of the shows. And it's such a playful way to introduce that character for its new upcoming year. Ben 10 had the National Hero Tour, where the Ben 10 themed trailer visited malls, letting kids try out the new video games and play with toys. Additionally, they had the fast food tie-ins with the Ben 10 toys at McDonald's and Jollibee in 2007. And the Kids Next Door figures were even offered at Burger King's meals and Jollibee in spring, wrapping up the whole series. Cartoon Network also sponsored the Six Flags Fright Fest with the Scooby-Doo branding, and all these on-the-ground promotions made CN a very visible brand for kids in 2007. Wow, what a crazy time to be alive. I remember commercials for all of these things, and I'm not sure if I firsthand experienced them, but even just going over them as a concept is so nostalgic for me. So 2007 had some really cool marathons, crossovers, and significant show milestones. One of the most interesting ones to me, maybe because I like Eddy and Eddy is the best day ever. It was in April 27th to 28th in 2007. It was a 33-hour marathon of Ed, Edd n Eddy. In late 2007, Cartoon Network treated fans to this marathon from 9:30 a.m. on the 27th to 7 p.m. on the 28th. It was so extensive that even Adult Swim's overnight block had to keep the marathon going. Every single episode of Ed, Edd n Eddy aired in chronological order, spanning the show's entire run up until that point. The marathon culminated with the premiere of the season 5 finale episode of Fistful of Ed, which was promoted as the final episode ever of the series.
And be sure to catch the last episode of Ed, Edd n Eddy.
A stunt that shocked and confused viewers because Cartoon Network falsely announced the series was canceled at the end of the marathon.
This ends now!
Because a new episode came like the next month. Isn't that insane? The Eds Are Coming was aired the month later for the Invaded special. In fact, the massive marathon was such a success that it delivered some of Cartoon Network's highest ratings of the year. Ed, Edd n Eddy's journey was far from over. Due to its enduring personality, the show was extended beyond season 5 with a few lost episode specials. And the true series finale came in the form of a TV movie, Ed, Edd n Eddy's Big Picture Show, but we talked about that another time.
In case of movie break glass.
Bingo! A peanut?
The Best Day Ever marathon thus served as both a celebration of how far the Quirky series had come since 1999 into its final chapters. Oh, and who could forget my favorite show, Shaolin Showdown, having the Shaolin Showdown Throwdown Marathon in January 2007? The show concluded in 2006, but they had a special marathon devoted to the Shaolin fans. From noon to 7 p.m., the network aired a 7-hour marathon with all the Shaolin Showdown episodes back to back. Essentially a Shaolin binge, allowing fans to relive the entire saga of Omi, Raimundo, Kimiko, Clay, and more. It consisted of mostly the episodes of the end of Season 2 and Season 3, but it was strategically scheduled Saturday afternoon, because once the marathon ended at 7 p.m., Cartoon Network segued into a Naruto marathon, making an evening treat for animation cartoon lovers. It was essentially a send-off to the series, as it wouldn't be coming on much more, even in reruns after this. And then in March 2007, they had this thing called March Movie Madness for the entire month.
March Madness?
And they basically were having every night at 7 p.m. a new premiere. It kicked off with the action animation hybrid Cats and Dogs. I'm not sure if you remember that movie. It's so 2000s.
And make them quake in fear at the very mention of my name!
Mr. Pinkers!
It meant that Cartoon Network was willing to include family-friendly live-action content in its mix of animation. Throughout March, viewers could tune in any night, and the theatrical animated hits and the made-for-TV specials were just all over the place. It even had the Big Boogie Adventure from Billy and Mandy as a part of the lineup. Later in the 2000s, the channel would continue to incorporate movies and even venture into live-action projects, but in retrospect, March Movie Madness stands out as an ambitious programming strategy, something that was kind of new to them at the time. It kept viewers engaged nightly and paved the way for more original movie content on the channel, like Ben 10 Race Against Time that came out later that year. For fans, it was like so much fun to just tune in and see what was going on. And then who could forget the amazing Colossal crossover event, November 11th, 2007. 11/11, can you imagine? So Cartoon Network devoted the entire Sunday to a special marathon that ran from 6 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And over these 13 and a half hours, the event featured was an interwoven lineup of episodes from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and codename Kids Next Door. Can you imagine why they call it the Amazing Colossal crossover event?
Colossal! Why?
I recently watched this crossover, and Billy and Mandy and Kids Next Door is a good idea, but it's not great in execution. Like, the way they did it wasn't super notable, but the marathon was cool. Throughout the day, they alternated between both of these shows, like the Billy and Mandy's darkly comedic escapades and imaginative kid spy adventures, each including the series TV movies. Viewers got to rewatch Operation Zero, the codename Kids Next Door finale, and Billy and Mandy's Big Boogie Adventure as a part of that build-up. All of it was leading to the big payoff at 7 p.m., The Grim Adventures of the K&D. This official crossover special that merged the two universes. And in that special, Billy, Grimm, and the Kids Next Door characters all shared the screen for a zany adventure, a treat for both series fans. After a successful 6th season run, codenamed Kids Next Door wrapped up its 6th and final season that month as well, so it was probably an emotional time at Cartoon Network. The Grim Adventures thus served as a grand finale of sorts, like one last hurrah that gave closure in a fun, humorous way, like two shows saying goodbye to each other, both sharing the network for so long and finally dying. And then people got a 5-minute preview of Ben 10 Race Against Time, which at the time was a really exciting thing. It was the network's first live-action original movie based on their shows. The preview hinted at Cartoon Network's future direction, expanding the Ben 10 franchise, because I know the 3rd season had just ended in 2007, and they were getting ready for their 4th and final season by November. If you guys enjoyed the Grim Adventures of the KND, please, hype yourself up, because if you were born in this time, watch this marathon, I'm sure this is a big throwback for you. For me, I'm excited about Shaolin Showdown. I thought that was a really exciting time to be a Shaolin Showdown fan, and I definitely was sitting there watching all 7 hours of that. To think that the Invaded crossover event not only interfered with the final episodes of some of these shows, but bled into another month, 2007 must have been crazy for Cartoon Network fans, especially for the ones that picked up on those minute details. I can't believe they thought Ed, Edd and Eddy was technically over with one new episode releasing after it. That's insane. How do you fall for something like that?
You lied to me.
Some of the other notable events that I didn't really get to talk about were the show Class of 3000. The animated musical comedy created by Andre 3000 of Outkast saw big developments in 2007. In April, Class of 3000 concluded its first season, the season finale episode Mini Mentors, in April. And then the show made a quick turnaround, premiering its 2nd season in June. Notably, the 2nd season would be this show's final season, so I thought it would be important to kind of talk about that for a second. Although the series has a dedicated fan base and a unique musical flair, with almost every episode having something really interesting and rich with music, the show starring the musical teacher Sonny Bridges and his friends that follow Lil D and all them.
Sonny, you my mentor. That means I'm meant to look up to you. But I can't do that unless you tall again.
It was just such a nostalgic show. Nothing was animated like that at the time. The curvy lines, there was something really unique about that, and I just had to talk about it for a second.
I wanted to do a truly original, Dirty South cartoon. You never get to see those voices, I felt like it was a great backdrop for what I wanted to do.
A lot of it's based on Andre's memories of childhood, but I wanted to have a very magical, whimsical character that kind of led these kids. The Willy Wonka, the Wizard of Oz.
The experimental approach they took to putting a full music video in almost every episode would later be done by the Looney Tunes show. I'm not sure if you guys heard of that, but this show did it in such an artsy, impressive way. It paved the way for all of those other shows to do stuff like that. But yeah, 2007 was the year of endings and beginnings, celebrated through these elaborate events, not only the TV movies, but all the extra episodes that came from these shows. The network demonstrated its showmanship with lengthy marathons so many times this year, and I can't remember if any other year had done it more, but there has to be some kind of record for this, because I can't imagine. It was packed with nostalgia, highlights, and a sense of transitioning. With that whole CN City bumper era being gone, that was a part of Cartoon Network that I so closely identified with. It almost felt like I was outgrowing the network and they were the ones telling me that. It was just so depressing to think about. But I like thinking about where it went. It definitely didn't fail by any means, and there were some really impressive series that came after this. But for now, it's kind of fun to just look back and remember this one specific year. This year should have gotten a medal, because it was definitely one of the most influential. From Ed and Eddy's fake farewell to the actual farewell of Billy and Mandy and the Kids Next Door crossover, each event was crazy. There's so much more to get into, and I've barely scratched the surface. With Cartoon Network having such a bleak future right now, it's important to remember what these times meant to us. It's not necessarily about saving what they're gonna be, it's about preserving what they were, reliving the memories and letting that almost be honored. I'm sure Cartoon Network didn't expect these marathons to be remembered so far into the future, but if they knew that their legacy was on the line, I think they would have given a little more care into it. But you know what? It was fan service for sure. I don't feel like it could have been better. I just feel I just wish I enjoyed it more when it was on. You guys should totally check out my 2007 retrospective on Nickelodeon. And it wasn't a coincidence. I just think both of these networks happened to have the best year in 2007. Maybe because that's exactly when I was paying attention, and then after I wasn't anymore. But there's something about these kids networks coming up with things in 2007 that just made it all gold. But do you guys have like a better year you could think of, or what are you the most nostalgic for? I'm curious to hear 2000s babies' opinions, because obviously the 3-year difference kind of matters, and I'm curious to see where that is. Thank you guys so much for watching Johnny 2000, and make sure you're liking, subscribing, and just thank you guys so much for your support. Like, I love doing what I'm doing for a living, and it is amazing, and I couldn't do it without you guys. So until next time, everybody, this is Johnny 2000 signing off.